talk about. Hey everyone, I'm Randy Surles. I'm a former Green Beret and Ranger in the military, and now I'm a book coach, a developmental editor, and a ghostwriter. And I'm here with my buddy Dan here to teach you guys, or at least talk about our experiences with publishing, writing, and editing. And Dan.
Hey, thanks, Randy. Yeah, Daniel Pace here. So I'm a retired Green Beret and now an aspiring full-time author. So I've got 4 books written, but I still have a day job. And so I'm in that transition-y spot from, person with day job to full-time writer. And that's what we're here to talk about on the show is really how do you make that transition? And if you want to write, books about being in the military, if you want to take that step into becoming an author, what are some of the best practices and worst practices that you can encounter as you go? And I think we've encountered the whole gambit, Randy. I think we've got the entire spectrum of best and worst practices together.
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess this is I wish we had more people asking questions, but you know, expectations of like your editor, or I just had a client write me and he had a list of questions. And then he's like, hey, I need a ghostwriter for my memoir. And I almost got it finished with ChatGPT, and how much you charge. And he has a list of questions, and like the questions weren't even like, these aren't the questions he should be asking. Like, like I wrote him. I was like, it doesn't sound like you need a ghostwriter. I don't think you know what you're asking. I think you need an editor to look at what you're writing and focus it, is probably what you really need. But I gave him my ghostwriting prices, and he wrote me back. He's like, that's ridiculous. I can spend $12 a month on ChatGPT and still have leftover money for all my other projects. Why would I pay you that money? And I was like, well, I didn't respond. I did. I said, hey, that's no problem. If you don't want to work with me, that's fine. But if you'd like to meet, talk vet to vet about publishing your book and getting it out there, I'd be glad to talk to you. But you don't have to be a dork about it.
You know how it is with AI. Like we're looking at opening a business in the not so distant future. And so naturally, like everybody else, what do? You go on your AI of choice, like a lot of Gemini, you go on, you start researching, you like get into this and this, and you research like business plans and this and that. And before you know it, if you're not careful, you can trick yourself into knowing what the hell you're talking about, right? And because it can fill you full of data, but that data doesn't replace, kind of experience, a lot of learned lessons, a lot of like trial and error, the things that you gain by actually gaining knowledge. And obviously writing is the same way. Like you can put a story prompt into ChatGPT, you will get a story. One, is it your story? No, it's ChatGPT's story. You didn't do anything with that story. You just put in one sentence. 2, is it actually the story you want to tell? Like anytime I put anything in a prompt on there, anytime it spits it out, like a picture, an image, any kind of, it's got lots of holes. It's got lots of problems. And are you going to clean those up? I think you might find by the time you retold the story, cleaned it up and made it your story, you've put as much work in as you would have by writing the story in the first place. So what do you really want this to do? Yes, you're right. For $12, sometimes for free, you can have AI write you a book. Is that do anything? Is that accomplishing anything that you wanted to accomplish? I would argue no, but maybe there are people who feel differently.
Yeah. And actually I have a kettlebell coach on online kettlebell coach teaching me how to do kettlebell exercises and stuff like that. And he's like, ghostwriter, huh? I just can't imagine why anyone would hire someone to write their book. And I was like, well, first of all, how many people are out there that are writing books that have no idea what they're doing? Like, writing is the only profession where, hey, I spent 30 years in the military writing evaluation reports, awards, and SOPs. I can write a book. There are lots of people writing books. And then they, and then they do, and they give it to me. And I'm like, hey, let me tell you how to write a book. And it's like, it's only a profession where people don't think they need to learn these skills and they can just become a writer. And then he's like, well, I wrote a book. I was like, oh, awkward. Why didn't you mention that before we had this conversation?
But you think a coach would be sympathetic, because coaching, I would imagine, has a very similar, like, well, what's a coach? Anybody can lift weights. I could get on the bench and lift weights. Like, that's true. I can hurt myself lifting weights with no coaching whatsoever. I can injure myself doing exercises with absolutely zero problem. But with years of experience and like watching people screw things up and understanding common traps and pitfalls, things people do wrong all the time, you get the ability to help somebody progress and not like plateau injury, plateau injury. Like, hey, let's get stuck in that athletic cycle. I gotta think a coach would feel that, like, yes, I understand completely because I too have a job that many people think I could just do that. But sure enough, there's something to it.
Yeah.
Oh well. Oh, what can you
Yeah.
do? What can you do?
So, so actually, before we started, I was asking you about how your launch is going. I think that's pretty good information. You were saying you want us to talk about how your other book's selling because you're launching your second book.
Yeah, for sure. So I've got It'll Buff out pre-launched as of last week. So Amazon lets you do a launch up to 30 days in advance, I think. You might be able to go further than that, but I think 30 is the limit. So you list it for 30 days out. It is now a live link on Amazon that people can click buy on. It just says pre-order instead of buy. And that's it. It's live. But there's a couple of catches. One of the catches is you can't pre-sell, you can't do a pre-release on anything but an ebook. So you can pre-release an ebook, but not a paperback or hardback. There are ways around that. You can like list it on Ingram and then pre-sell it as an Amazon seller, but I didn't get into that. It's really complicated, and honestly, I don't know that it's worth it. And so what you end up with is a situation where I do a pre-release, and probably half of the comments and feedback that I get are people like, oh, well, when can I buy the physical book? And on the one hand, that's good. It's good people are thinking about it. It's good people are engaging. You get a lot of engagement there. But the downside is pre-sale numbers are, I would say, roughly half to a third of what they would be because those people are waiting to buy the real book. To your point, though, one of the weird things I noticed is that what the pre-sale did do is generate a modest number of pre-sales of this book, which is good, but it actually bumped the sales of my live book substantially because people came in. I've got it listed as a series now, which is like a super powerful tool to get people to, engage with the rest of your collection. And sure enough, people are clicking on the other book and buying it left and right. So that actually worked out really well. And I think between that and the bump on May 1st of like actually people buying the main book, it's going to turn out to be a pretty good launch. Better than I thought, which is good.
Why do you think they won't pre-launch the written book? Is it because they're afraid they'll have like 5 million orders and they won't be able to fulfill them or something like that?
It's weird because it's all print on demand anyway. And so if it's print on demand, I fill print on demand orders through lots of vendors. Book Vault does it, Ingram does it, Amazon does it. They don't have these in a warehouse and ship them. They don't print them until you order them. And so I don't get it. It might be a licensing thing between Amazon and their printer saying that, well, I can't create an obligation to that printer until this book releases because then maybe contractually they get into some kind of foul. Like maybe Amazon doesn't generate a contract with a printer for that book until it's released. I got to think it's something weird like that because nothing else really makes sense to me. I don't see why they would care, but they do. And so they don't offer that option for whatever reason.
I wonder, I'm just trying to imagine the warehouse with like 50,000 printers. How many Amazon books are getting printed every day? I mean, I've ordered 5 books. I've ordered 5 or 6 books in a day, and they're like, and they're next day delivery. So there's a printer out there, like, and I mean, my books are in the queue, and it's just like, boom, book out. Is it a book a minute? Like, how? I can't even imagine what the printer looks like that would be able to print a book a minute or a book in 5 minutes.
I don't know. And as you get into, so one, there'd be 2 categories, right? You'd have the books that are printed by publishers and then stocked in Amazon warehouses like a traditional good. So if you got like a collector's edition of The Lord of the Rings, I mean, Amazon's not to print that, right? They're just stocking it and then they're shipping it out when it's ordered. But if you look at the print on demand books, which are, one, they have super specific specifications. Like so when you print it, you have to give them like the right templates, the right everything so that it feeds into the redonculator and craps out your book. I don't know what that thing looks like. It must be pretty impressive though, because it's clean. Like I rarely see one that's misprinted. I rarely get one that's screwed up. I've heard a couple of stories of people whose bindings were kind of loose and the pages fell out after just a couple of reads, but on the whole, the quality's not bad. And so I don't know, man. I don't know. Now the funny thing is though, when you see the hardback against the paperback, one of the kind of funniest things they do is the paperback is almost to me, it looks like the same book, but they glue a hardback on the outside of it instead of a cover. So it's it's a hardback. It's a decent hardback. It's not that bad, but it's not like a cloth bound, super sexy, like Eaton Press, hardback. It's not like that. It's more like textbook hardback, which is okay. But
Not like that.
yeah, that's right. That's right. It's now you can do those through Book Vault. Like they have this bespoke program where you can like customize it, and you can put a dust jacket on. You can get a little ribbon. You can get all the little binding stuff, and that's really cool. It's I don't know. It was impressive, but it takes quite a while. It takes quite a while to get done, and it's not print on demand the same way. Like if a customer ordered one of those and it came 8 weeks later, I don't think the customer would be too happy, right? The expectation's not that 2 months is going to be my print time anymore. So it's not a great option for people with looking for a quick turn book.
So one of the questions I want to ask you. So I have a friend. He's written a lot of screenplays. He wrote a couple books. One was called Tattoo Zoo, and he was an embedded journalist with a unit in Afghanistan, and he wrote kind of like a Band of Brothers for an American unit in Afghanistan is what he wrote. And he called it Tattoo Zoo, and it never really took off, but he didn't really spend any time marketing it either. And so I said, you know what, Paul, I'm going to invest. I just want to learn how to do Facebook meta ads. So I'm going to invest $500 because I don't know if $500 will do anything. You're going to tell me in a minute, but I'm going to invest $500 on your book. I believe in your book, and we'll see what happens because you basically don't sell anything per year, really. So if you get an uptick of nothing above nothing, then something's happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I get something decent over a month or two for $500 or in Meta, or is it going to cost a lot more than that?
So let me ask this: is he selling on Amazon or is he selling direct off either his website or Facebook Marketplace? Amazon. So I have a hypothesis that Meta doesn't provide as solid a return on your investment when you take people off platform with your ads. I've read it a few places. I don't know. I get the sense that might be true, but my personal experience with Meta ads is that I get relatively less return on investment than I do through Amazon advertising, because my guess is that cut right there, because I get a lot of engagement on Meta ads. And to your question, I'll get to the answer in just a second, but I get a lot of engagement with them, but almost no conversions. And so I wonder sometimes if that's not something with Facebook just not wanting people to click and go somewhere else. They want to keep them on Facebook. That's my suspicion. I don't know that to be the case.
I'm sure there's that makes no sense because they're trying to market. So if you click out of Facebook, that's the whole purpose of the market.
Well, they get paid when the guy clicks. They don't get paid when the guy buys your book. And so I wonder if there's not a little bit of, and then people say, well, yeah, but if they don't buy your book, you're going to cancel your advertising. It's like, well, and maybe my advertising just sucks. So it's very possible. I totally accept that I might just be a bad marketer, but I have enjoyed relatively low conversion rates with Facebook using kind of the same material, and the book is the same. And so I just wonder at the why. But to your question, I usually set my budgets at like $10 a day as my max spend on Meta. And so $500 in that world, if you had your little ads tiered out, would give you, like a month and a half, probably like more like 2 months. Cause usually I didn't spend all 10 every day. It determines through this auction system how much each little ad costs. And it doesn't always cost the max. But if you had really strong material, I think that's probably enough. I think if you overspent on that, they say you're supposed to find the ads that work and then throttle up your spending incrementally to kind of drive people to them. But I have a hard time with like A/B tests. I have a hard time figuring out which ad is really successful. I've stumbled on them a couple of times, but honestly, I'm not good enough at manipulating the tools to really like reinforce them the way I think you should. And so I'm just not, I just don't think I've got the skills to be like an expert Facebook monitor or advertiser. But to your point, I think $500 is enough to toss it out there. And I got sales. You will see a bump, you will notice, and it does a good job of tracking that. So one of the weird things about Amazon is it doesn't. Facebook has this, or Meta has this thing called a shard. So if you tie Meta to the site that's running the store, so if you have a Wix store or your website store or some other store, it will actually feed back that advertising data to say, yep, that sale was attributed to this click right here. You can't do that with Amazon because Amazon won't give its shard to Facebook for whatever, who knows what reason. And so you can't get that circular data to say, no kidding, it was this ad and this click that drove the sale. You can infer it by looking at the two next to each other, but you can't know it. And so I found it to be a little more difficult to work with than Amazon ads. But maybe that makes sense. Like if I was Amazon, I would want you to spend money on my ads, not on Facebook ads. So maybe that's on purpose too. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if Amazon ads is the right way to go with this book, because there's so many, books like this. This is a fiction book too. There's so many books like this in Amazon, and I went to in fact, I have a writing conference here where I live in Spain that I go to every year, and I went to one. I went to one 2 years ago, and then I went to one last year, and both of them were very pro Facebook. One of them works for Facebook, and so of course, but he's like, "Hey, here's the deal." Oh no, he didn't work for Facebook, but he did Facebook ads, and I have his whole briefing. He didn't say how to do it. He just said, "This is how I make my money. I use Facebook ads," and he's like, "I spend $500,000 on Facebook ads every year, but I make $4.5 million off my books." And the thing is, just like you said, I take the ones I've been selling the same book series. I sell the first one of my book series and the last one of my book series. I don't sell the 20 in between. And because if you like my book series, then you'll read all of them. And if you've already read my book series, you want to know when the new one comes out. And I do my ads and I keep track of what works. And then I recycle the ones that work over and over and over, because inevitably every single one of those ads, every time you use it, gets seen by 90% new people. And occasionally, once in a while, I'll get an obnoxious comment that says, "Hey, get some new material." And I'll say, "Thank you for your concern, but that wasn't meant for you because you already saw it."
That's
true. Yeah. And yeah, so you find the top 20 that work, and maybe you'll try a new one every now and then, but you might as well just use the ones that get the most clicks and keep using them over and over, because there's 8 billion people on Facebook, and you're going to find 100, 300, 1,000 new people every time you put it out there.
It's true. It's a huge population. It's hard to find. It's kind of overwhelming to think how big it is. But to your point, there is something, I don't know if it's like chemical about a good one that works and a bad one that doesn't, because I'll be honest, I can't always tell the difference. Like, not always. I can never tell the difference when I create them. What's going to be like a rock star? Like this one's, like I've had a couple that have had like thousands and thousands of people engaging. There's traffic on them. There's likes, there's jams, and there's others that I think to me are like the same kind of ads. Like, oh, it's about the same. It should work. Fucking nothing. So I don't know why one works and one doesn't, but some really do just like grab people and some don't. And Meta has, this is where I start to get into the ignorant side of it, but it has like a whole suite of tools where you will auto tweak them and auto adjust and auto push them. And I feel like if I just understood that system, I could get a lot more bang for my buck out of Meta ads, but it gets, I don't know, it starts getting unwieldy. Like I'll click through it, I'll start doing this, I'll tweak one, but then I don't know how to kind of delete the old ones and stack them up. And they start to kind of pile up into this mess. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Do I create a new campaign? Do I use these? Is it pulling from this old material that I don't like? Can I hide that? And it becomes, it got to the point where like, I just don't get it. So after the website is reworked, after, I'm working with a guy who does my cover art, and he's like, your website kind of sucks. It's a little clunky. I'm like, okay, I can accept that. He's like, let me clean up your website. And then I think your conversion rate will go up, because when people get to the site, they'll be like, yeah, I clicked on it. This thing looks great. I want to buy this book. I'm like, okay, I can accept that. Maybe the material at the end is not as good as it could be. So long story long, I will circle back and try again with meta ads once that Facebook, once the website is launched, and we'll give it another go. We'll see if we can make it work. But optimistically, like there's a lot of people on Facebook. They buy books. How do we make them buy your book? Don't know yet. We're gonna get there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to try this out, try to figure it out. And obviously there's never any guarantees, we'll see.
No, especially not in advertising, man. It feels very magical. So with this launch, I'm going to launch a BookBub ad as well. So BookBub, it does a lot of digital book ads. If you have your ebook listed there and you can link people to it, I think that with BookBub combined with Kindle Unlimited, I have a strong possibility of pulling a lot more people in, getting those initial looks, like, okay, I'll thumb through these pages because it's free if you have a Kindle Unlimited experience. And if you like it, like, okay, I'll actually pick this thing up. That's my hope. So far, Kindle Unlimited has been actually pretty good. I've been on it for just a few weeks, and there's like many thousands of pages read, which is, royalties. So it's more people reading the book. It's more people hearing the stories. And I'm all about exposure. I think that's critical. More people reading is good, even if you're not getting as much per click.
Cool. Excellent.
I don't know. Could be. It
could
be. Maybe someday.
And how much? And is $500 go far with Amazon ads in comparison? Is it about the same? Or?
So I enjoy Amazon ads more, and so I'm biased in favor of it. But yes, so I just have my dashboard up in the background here. So a month of Amazon advertising cost me $153, and it drove. And this isn't going to sound very good, but it drove $120 in sales. Obviously, that's not the kind of ratio you're looking for, but my kid's book in particular, I have to over advertise a little because it doesn't have a lot of self pull yet. It just only has like 15 reviews, so it's a little thin. But I find it easy because you just tie it to the products that are like your book. So you tag let's say I look at other war memoirs. Okay, what are the most successful war memoirs that roughly kind of mirror mine? Like if you like that memoir, you probably like mine too. I find those and I just tag my book to those through advertising. And then I just set my limits on what I'll pay for that book to be exposed. And I find a decent conversion rate on that. It's not quite as good as I'd like. I'd like it obviously to be more than 1-to-1, but lots of months it's actually like 1-to-1. So I get what I spend in sales, but because you're increasing volume, I think there's a little value, in and of itself for that. And I think as you expand the series, it'll increase. But I guess again, long story long. I think 500 goes a little further to me on Amazon than it does on Meta, but it might just be because I'm a little better at using it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you starting on your next book already?
I have. So it's called Variations Authorized. It's going to be the third book in that series, and I have the outline
from your
mostly. What's that?
Is that from your orders?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first time I ever thought about writing a book way back in like team leader days. I was like, if I ever write a book on time and SF, it's going to be Variations Authorized, because there's that magic button you can click on DTS that somehow, if you just click that, you can change all your shit. Everything's okay. But if you don't click it, oh, woe is you. You'll have to pay back all the travel money. You're like, what? Doesn't even make any sense. But to me, that it captures the government bureaucracy so well that I wanted to make it the title, because the third book is going to be absolutely about staff bureaucracy nonsense. And it's going to go from, TSOC time up through Afghanistan in 2019, running the Sajitif through, kind of close out in retirement. It's going to be a different flavor of book, but I think we can still make it entertaining. Anyway, so yeah, we got it started. And then I got started one more too. So, two more. So I've got the sequel to the Whale and the Kraken coming. I'm about halfway through writing that, and kids' books go a little faster. They're just smaller. And then I've got one called Over a Beer. So one of the things about writing the last two memoir books is people love sharing their war stories. I'm even like talking to you. You get a good war story. Even just you start like talking about your book. I read your book. I love it. And I got the story to tell. I love people's stories, and I want to take a collection of short stories from other people and take the format of It Was What It Was, and it'll buff out that same like day in the life kind of building blocks. And I want to just staple together a bunch of short stories, like people's just greatest hits. Like, tell me your stories. So when you look at It Was What It Was, you're like, okay, this guy was in Baghdad from 07 to 08. what else was going on in the world? Because the GWAT had tons of other stuff going on, and people have these wild experiences about, like, I'm flying helicopters for HVTs in Baghdad, or I'm working in Africa, or I'm Task Force Night, knocking down doors. And I want to stack those stories into a collection of short stories and just publish as, and we call it one more of the Tales from the GWAT series. Like, just other great stories that are out there. Because I don't want to be lost. I love those stories and I love telling them. And there's a lot of good ones out there.
That's for sure.
You do. And you're a ghostwriter, right? You see them all the time. You froze. Did I talk too long and break your internet? I think I broke your connection, Randy. I'll give you a few seconds to show back up. Hopefully your connection fixes. But for anybody else out there, Randy's been struggling with his internet today. He's out of Spain. Sometimes I think the internet gets a little dodgy going across the Atlantic. And so he's been having some trouble. So hopefully we'll get back up. And if he drops, then we'll just cut this early. But yeah, I think, as Randy would always say, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, if you've got things you'd like us to talk about, if you've got things you'd like to know about, being a writer or being an editor, hey, come join us. Come join us and talk us through it. Let us know what you got. We'll try and give you our best answers. At least if we don't know, you'll at least hear how we screwed it up, and then you can not screw up in that way. So I hope y'all have a great afternoon. It was good talking to you. Bye.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got because I got bad weather here. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Oops. I guess we're not. Oh, we're going to do an addendum.
A little supplement here. We're about to close that anyway, but hey, we close it out right. I told everybody your internet was dodgy today, so now they know, our audience.
Have you seen Hail Mary?
No, I haven't. What's Hail Mary?
Oh my gosh, you gotta see it. It's a book written by Andy Weir, the same guy who wrote The Martian.
Okay.
It stars Ryan Gosling. Came out 3 or 4 years ago. The book is amazing, and the movie is super amazing. It's so well done. It's such a great. If that guy doesn't win an Academy Award, those guys are crazy. It's basically the same as that Tom Hanks movie Castaway, because he's like alone in space for like 3/4 of the movie, and it's just a bunch of. It's flashbacks, but it's just really good. He has flashbacks. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that today, but you haven't seen it, so we're not going to talk about it.
I'm still happy to hear about it. I just haven't not seen it.
I did watch Mercy, though. Have you seen Mercy?
No, I haven't seen Mercy either. And shit, I'm bad at this.
You like work? Mercy is Chris Pratt, and it's basically very similar to the Tom Cruise movie with the police.
Minority Report.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, but it's kind of reverse. Like they don't predict that what you're going to do and arrest you ahead of time. What they do is they analyze the situation, and if you're over 92% possibility of being guilty by an AI judge, then you have an hour and a half to defend yourself to bring it down below 92%. And you get access to everything in the cloud, like everybody's cell phone, everybody's door cam, all the databases. You can and you just have to like request it and like, hey, get into this, talk to this, the camera outside of my neighbor's house so you can see if someone got out or someone was going out the back door, stuff like that. So it's kind of like the opposite.
That's weird. That's so weird. You can totally see the world going that way, though. But I guess that's why it makes the movie engaging, right? It's because people are like, this is going to happen.
Yeah, it was very interesting because the AI judge started doubting itself, and which I'm not sure an AI judge would really do that because it was like, oh, we're making mistakes. Oh my gosh. And then it was like AI and humans have to work together to solve these problems. I was like, really? Do we? I don't know if we do. I don't know if that's true.
I'm not sure we do. Yeah, exactly. Maybe we just turn them off and go back to normal. Huh?
So I had so the pilots that got rescued, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know if have you seen the memes about them?
I saw the first what I thought was a cat release photo. It's like this like super fresh looking dude in the helicopter. It's got guys with beards on either side. Everybody's smiling and happy. I mean, maybe it's a real photo. If it is, I don't know why the hell they would have released it because it feels like a giant OPSEC violation, and you're just begging for Iranians to kill your family. But maybe it's just AI. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I think you're on the same feed I am, which is positive military, and just like we military doing what military does best. We rescue our pilots. We get 110%. But my kids are not my kids. My kids, like friends and girlfriends and stuff, are like they get a different feed, and their feed has them like making fun of the pilot. Like they playing Rocky music, and they have him running with a bunch of Iranians running behind him, and he's scared for his life, trying to escape or something like that. And I'm like, what? Is that funny? He's like, yeah, it's funny because he's like running for his life. I was like, I don't think running for your life is very funny. I don't understand why you think that's funny. He's like, well, because he chose and he's sucking for it right now. And I was like, I don't understand the concept.
No, it's like I guess I know. So to me, it just sends me back to evasion, right? I've only done evasion in training. I know you probably only done evasion in training, but it's not a comfortable feeling, right? There's nothing pleasant about being chased by other people who want to do bad things to you. So yeah, I mostly just empathize with the guy. I mean, is there some validity to the idea? Like, well, he was flying over dropping bombs on people, and he didn't seem too sad about that. So maybe there's a little justice in him running his ass off. Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying there. It's a risk that you take when you're a soldier, and you're gonna go fight, and you get fucked up. Well, you probably can't bitch about it too much. I mean, you weren't bitching when you were on the other side of the stick, but it's still not funny. There's nothing funny about running for your life. Like that's scary shit. But
what's it? So here's the other thing. Like, I don't understand pilot culture, but we wouldn't ever have any lieutenant colonels running around on the ground.
So pilots fly forever, man. They fly forever.
Well, they do fly forever, but is the old crusty lieutenant colonel the best reflex guy to go up into the planes and fly? Unless you're Tom Cruise, of course. But or is the not the lieutenant that just got out of pilot school, but the captain or the major that's been doing it for 10, 12 years, still has the reflexes and hasn't been smashed by 50 million Z's over the course of his 20-year career. Is that to me, that would be the better choice to send out on these combat missions. I feel like it's the same thing. Like when we jump into combat, there's only so many combat jumps every decade. And everybody others like, I want to do it. The lieutenant colonel, that's the chaplain. Like, what? Why are you coming, dude? You can't even stick. You can't even stick with us and run, man. Why are we gonna jump with you? Spiritual.
Now there's a lot of validity to that, right? I don't know. One, Air Force promotions are a shitload faster than Army promotions in my experience. So that lieutenant colonel could have like, let's say 12 or 13 years. I mean, he could be like 32 or 30. Well, probably not 32, but he could be like, let's say, younger than 35. I think it'd still be a lieutenant colonel. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that guy's in his prime. I don't know. Maybe he's not suffering from those reflex hits yet. But two, I don't know. I mean, pilot retention isn't phenomenal. Like they hemorrhage guys to go work for the Air Force. Maybe an F-15 is an old bird. So maybe that dude's just one of the dudes who still flies F-15s. He's a dinosaur. He's just still there crushing it after all those years. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know all the details.
I don't think so. I've written probably 7 memoirs about military pilots, Navy, Air Force. I haven't written an Army one yet, but Navy and Air Force, and the ones that get chosen for the fighter pilots that come out of pilot school and get their Top Gun, or they're the top 3 or whatever, and they go to get the fighter training. None of those guys got out before their retirement because they loved what they did. They wanted to fly fighters. And the people that didn't get the fighters, they ended up being like instructors or cargo planes or something like that. They're, after about 6 or 7 years of trying and not getting in fighters, they got out, flew commercial, and went National Guard so they could fly fighters.
Yeah, maybe. Again, you've written more on it than me. I don't know much. I do know that the F-15 guy, the second one, I believe, was the Wizzo. I think it was the weapons officer. So he wasn't even the pilot. He was the guy, the weapons officer. So who knows what that guy does or what his career track looks like? I don't know. I'm sure flying an F-15 is a lot of fun, though. It's probably really fun to fly around and drop all those bombs on people. That thing carries a ton of fucking ordnance, and I bet it's a great time to fly over and just smoke people in that thing. It's probably less fun when you have to evade, but you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that all that, especially like Just Cause Panama, where we were jumping in and no one had jumped in since Grenada. And everybody and their mother, like, hey, you're not even in my squad. Why are you jumping in the middle of my squad? Like, why are you in my stick, dude? And they're like, where do you guys come from? Why are these people? What are you going to do when you hit the drop zone? Like, go on when you go to the assembly area. And then what? Like, what are we going to do with you?
I'm going to bless people. I'm the chaplain. I'm going to do it. It's going to be great.
And the chaplain's assistant too. I got to protect the chaplain.
The chaplain's assistant. I can only think of Slaughterhouse-5 when I think of the chaplain's assistant, just because old Billy Pilgrim, right? He's the protagonist of the book, and it's just such a silly character. But whatever. But no, I gotta get ready to cut, man. We're past half hour. I gotta get ready to move. But always a fun conversation. I feel like we get sidetracked to talk about Army shit a lot, but you know what? That's okay. It's fun.
Well, we're talking about military. We're talking to our military brothers about writing. We got to show that we know a little bit about the military. We just probably showed we didn't know anything about pilots.
Very little. They get promoted faster than me and they get paid more. So good on them. Great life choice. Should all been pilots.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dan. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon, Randy.